A normal day, a normal guy testing a normal car. Is this the affordable EV everyone has been waiting for? That's what I'm going to answer today. This is the Skoda Elroq 60 and this is my full review. Welcome to It's Only Electric. Let's start with some facts. What are we actually looking at? The Elroq sits just in between its bigger brother, the Skoda Elroq and the Volkswagen ID.4, and the Volkswagen ID.3 and the Cupra Born. That's the smaller cars. It measures 4.5 meters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.75. The car with the mid-size battery pack, as this one has, weighs 2 tons. That's the curb weight. And whilst talking about the battery packs, as I said, this is the mid pack with a net capacity of 59 kilowatt hours, and that's what the 60 badge at the back tells us. 59, not 60. Never mind. Gross capacity 63 kilowatt hours, NMC pack. And when it comes to the range, the certified WLTP range for this exact version with the 19-inch wheels is 421 kilometers. The good thing though is that this battery pack is not the same one sitting in the ID.3. It's not the old 58/62 pack. This is updated, and that also means that the charging is better. So when it comes to DC charging, fast charging, it has a top speed of 165 kilowatts on 400 volt, of course. That takes us from 10 to 80% in 24 minutes. And that's really good actually, 24 minutes. When it comes to home charging, AC charging, 11 kilowatts, 3-phase support. One thing that's not as exciting as the charging is the power output. So it's still running the old 204 horsepower output motor with 310 Newton meters of torque or 150 kilowatts. It's driving on rear wheels only. And what's sad about that is that the old motor is not as efficient as the newer ones from the Volkswagen brand. They tend to be more powerful, but also more efficient. So I'm expecting the same efficiency from this car as from the older ID.3s and Cupra Borns. The rims, this is the 19-inch rims, come standard with this trim level, non-staggered setup, so 235 55s all around. In this case, running on Hankook Ventus Stevo 3 tires. And what we see here is Skoda's new front facial design that goes for their new EVs. The Enyaq is also going to look a lot similar to this one. They have separated the headlight unit, so this is the actual headlight unit and this is the daylight running lights. In between those there is a black bar connecting the whole front and giving the car a nice contrast with the big Skoda logo on top. I love the contrast between this moonlight white metallic color with this black piano finish, a matte black here, and at the bottom a front lip in silver. I think this looks modern, it looks sleek, it looks EV. Underneath the hood there is still no front though, so that's unfortunate. Here at the sides we have airflows going through into the wheel arches. When it comes to rear design, I have nothing specific to say. I mean, Skoda's has been looking the same the last decade or so. I mean, you can't confuse this car with anything else. I think it looks okay. Another aspect of Skoda is practicality, and the Elroq also offers that, of course, with a good boot capacity of 470 liters. This is smart. Maybe the cheapest way of doing a handle for closing the boot, but it works fine. They have also put in the umbrellas in the doors, but the ice scraper here at the back too. So all the practical things are still here. A lot of storage bins at the sides. You can really stow away small things like ropes, bands, etc. You have cargo securing hooks. Underneath here there is maybe 15 liters of boot space for storing like a tire repair kit, maybe a cable if you're lucky, but not more than that. There is just a single floor, nothing more underneath there. Foldable seats split into 30/70 with a ski latch in the middle. Unfortunately, it's a bit hard to fold the seats from here because this one needs to be removed first and then you can reach out for those levers and push the seats forward. And it doesn't fall flat because there is a loading lip. They could have added a extra floor to make it totally flat, but then I don't know what that actually brings. I think this is better to maximize the boot capacity. And it's also equipped with a manual tow hitch with a tow capacity of 1 ton. If you're used to the MEB platform or the Volkswagen Group's EV cars, you will feel at home in this interior too. You will recognize a lot of materials, a lot of equipment and parts that's used among the cars. There is a couple of different updates though to the better. I'm gonna go through those very soon, but that's exciting to see the evolution of the MEB platform. Starting with the materials here at the top, hard plastic with a speaker inside that top part. In front of that, rubberized material, soft touch here, hiding the 5-inch instrument cluster. So they are still using the 5-inch instrument cluster. In this case, it feels even smaller because it's hidden fairly deep inside the panel instead of having it on top of the steering column. So that makes a big difference because it's like 25 centimeters of a distance difference, which makes the screen dwarfing a bit. Surrounding the screen and on top of the dash here, they have used cushioned jeans denim with moss green stitching. The same materials is used in the seats. More about the seats soon. Underneath that there is the manual air ventilations, 1 on each side of the steering wheel and 2 for the passenger. This control panel is equipped with shortcuts and functions that you use very often. To the right you have the climate control functions, a shortcut to the climate menu, AC max off, defogging, etc. To the left of that you have the hazard lights and the lock and unlock key for the doors. The park assist view, you activate the parking view, the 360 view of the camera, and drive mode selector to the left of that, and most further to the left you have the assist menus. You press this one and it will pop the drive assist menu on the screen. So that's a welcome change. I like the addition of these shortcuts. What I'm missing here is a favorite button. Would be great to have a single button for binding it to your favorite function. That would have been really nice. The screen is the updated screen, 13-inch, very crisp, very clear. It's a solid screen and the software is really getting better and better for every iteration. And it's such a big difference when comparing it to the MEB cars. It's so much better, so much more functionality. It's straightforward, it's fairly bugless, almost bugless. It's a good user experience. And to another very welcome change, and that's the steering wheel. Not the wheel as such, but the control buttons. Instead of using these old haptic buttons from the MEB platform, they are fiddly, they're hard to get used to, you touch them by mistake, they're not user-friendly at all. In this case, it's all physical buttons. So to the left, we have the volume control, that's the knob here, and if you press it, you pause, press again, you play. Down below, you have the toggler, the media toggler, so you can forward or backward the songs. On top of that, the steering wheel heater and the voice assistant. To the right, you have the content switcher for the instrument cluster and the driver assist toggling function, so you can toggle between just keeping the speed and distance to the cars in front of you or using fully fledged lane keep assist, full ACC capability. Another change is the stalks in front of the steering wheel. So you have 2 stalks as usual, but you don't have any gear selector here anymore. The gear selector is moved down below, so it's on the central compartment, very easy to toggle because your arm is always resting here, so that's a very good change. Another big change is that you don't activate the drive assist functionality on the steering wheel anymore. You do that on a specific dedicated stalk down to the left. And that looks like the same stock implemented on the new Audi cars, like the A6 e-tron or the Q6 e-tron. So in total, the learning curve for a non-EV driver is really low. It's so easy to just jump in and drive the car because everything is so classically designed, it's so normal, it's so what people are used to. And this is, for me at least, a big step. And it really lowers the threshold for people moving over to EVs. To the final big change, and that's the central compartment here. Most further in, we have 2 USB-C ports, same as usual. We also have a Qi charger, good placing of the Qi charger. It's only one, and that's to the left. The good thing is that it's very easy to put in your phone. It stays put. But the big update here is that the Qi charger is actually updated. It's now faster. I think it supports 15 watts. It's ventilated, which means that when you're running Android Auto, you can really charge it quicker. So when I put my phone here, it will activate the Qi charger symbol here, and it shows me that it's actually quick charging the mobile device. So it also tells you the difference between normal Qi charging and quick Qi charging. So this is for me, because I have really been struggling with most MEB cars and their wireless chargers. They have been really cheap, hard to get to work, especially if you have a bigger phone or a Pixel phone. They barely never worked. This one works every time. It charges quick and it's ventilated. So this is actually, for me, one of the most important updates. This is a bad change though. A cup holder, a dual cup holder, but it is so small, so it's more or less for smaller cans. If you want to have a bigger mug or cup for your coffee, good luck, because it's way too small. In front of that, there is another storage area for storing keys and other small things. And this is the gear selector I just mentioned. This is the same gear selector as in the ID.7 cars. So that's also very welcome. It's a stable update, works fine. Underneath that, there is the park brake activation, a traditional lever, 2 coin holders. Down below, a cushioned armrest, good position of it, and a versatile storage here with trash bin and another storage compartment. I think this may be kind of a trash bin too. And placing here for a book or an iPad, I guess. That's good. No lighting. So a lot of effort put into practicality, but still no ports and no lighting. Underneath that central compartment, there is some additional storage with some rubberized finish at the bottom, at the lower parts. No USB-C ports, but some added storage capacity is always good. Glove box, traditional glove box. There is no button on the screen. It's fairly deep and big, so that's good storage too. And whilst talking about storage, there is some decent storage in the door pockets here in the front. A nice change is that it's all filtered. So this will really make up for some rattling and bad noise when you put things in here. That's a good welcome. I mean, for a cheap car, that's not always the case. Since this is one of the more basic trims, there is manual seats, so you move them manually. You adjust everything manually, and there is a lever here at the top for the lumbar support, so that's pushing it outwards. I would say that the angle is okay, but there is no way of adjusting the angle, and there is no thigh support, of course. This is more or less cheaper seats, but they are supportive. The cushioning is good, and the side bolsters is okay, both on the sitting position and here at the back. When it comes to the headrest, also well cushioned. Good that they have went for this leatherette material, because this is easier to keep clean than the jeans denim. When it comes to the adjustments of the headrest, it's only adjustable in X-axis. I would have wanted to be a bit more frontal facing to give me a better support. But otherwise, a good seat, a decent seat, and very similar to the other basic MEB seats. So the last part before taking it to a drive, the rear seat. Door closing sound, one more time. Solid sound. Frame doors as usual. Let me let in some light, and a good sound. The only car that have had a bad door closing sound on the MEB platform is actually Ford Capri. One of the most hollow door sounds ever, and that's on a solid car platform. The front seat is adjusted after my driver position. I'm 193 centimeters tall, or 6'4". So I'm probably not the one to put behind a tall driver, but still, as you see, I'm possible to squeeze in, and my knees are slightly touching without disturbing the driver, but it's soft, so it doesn't disturb me. My feet is possible to squeeze underneath the front seat, and the front seat is actually in its lowest position. So decent legroom for such a small car and for a tall guy. When it comes to headroom, this is also impressive. Over 1/5 of headroom when I actually stretch out. There is no possibility to adjust the angle of the backrest. That's normal for this price class and car size. But nevertheless, I have very good thigh support, and the bench is really supportive and nice to sit on. This is probably, I say probably because I'm not 100% sure, the best thigh support on any EV I have ever tested. So the back seat, the back bench is really placed high up and gives you really good leg support and almost supporting my thighs the whole way. That's very uncommon for EVs. Otherwise, the same materials as in the front, the jeans denim with the small screen stitching, a bit more leatherette here at the back, which is good. I mean, if you have the kids here, it's easier to keep clean. Pockets, 2 pockets on every side, one for a phone or a small cable and one bigger one. The central compartment consists of 2 manual air ventilations. Underneath that there is 2 USB-C port aligned to the left. The door materials, hard plastics, as always in the MEB cars. Good thing though is that there is also ambient lighting here at the back, and that's on the lower trim levels. So that's also impressive. Cushioned armrest for convenient long traveling, and this is a good cushioning and it really doesn't hurt your elbow. All in all, this is an impressive back seat for such a small car. So one of the biggest perks of the MEB cars is the usability. I mean, the driver friendliness, the easiness of jumping in and effortlessly starting the car and driving away. It's so easy to understand, it's so easy to get used to, and that's still present also on this Elroq. But it's slightly better actually. It's slightly easier, it's slightly more user-friendly. When it comes to the driving dynamics, first off we have 4 different drive modes: Eco, Normal, Sport, and Individual. You toggle those with the shortcut here on the control panel. Let us start with Eco. There is nothing you can config. It's just a set drive mode. And when accelerating, it doesn't give you all the power. It stops at like 80%, doesn't give you more than that. It also sets the ACC to Eco to save and preserve some energy. So that's more or less the biggest things. When we jump over to Sport, because that's the biggest delta, then it gives you the full power, 100% of the power. You see that on the power meter, and it also keeps the AC on full, not any Eco mode. If you want to see more exactly what it changes, there is a couple of settings on Individual, so that the driving dynamics, you can set it between normal and sport. The steering to sport or normal, it gets a bit stiffer, and drive, Eco, normal, sport. Exterior engine sound between sport and normal, the ACC, and that's adaptive cruise control. We can have Eco, normal, or sport, and the last setting is the air conditioning. So this is the mode I usually do utilize the Individual drive mode, because then you set it to your favorite settings and you can just keep it that way, very easy. But even if you play around with these settings, it is a night and day, because it doesn't have any active suspension. It's still a good suspension. It's stable, it is not too soft, gives you a bit of a body roll, because I mean it's still a 2-ton heavy car. But as on all MEB cars, the suspension is good. I mean, I have nothing direct to complain about. I'm gonna take it out here on the gravel road and see if it gives me any missed sounds or if it behaves strange passing through potholes. I don't expect it to do that, because they never do actually. They are very trustworthy. Let me see here. Let me find any bad spots and see if we can stress it a bit. First thing I notice is that it's still silent, doesn't give me that much of a road or gravel noise from the wheel arches, so the insulation seems to be good. And as expected, it seems to handle the potholes nicely, evenly, exactly as a ID4 or a ID3, nothing different in that aspect. Sometimes it can be a bit harsh, especially over speed bumps or like curbsides. Other than that, I have nothing to complain about actually. When it comes to recuperation, there is two main modes, D and B, and you toggle that here on the gear selector. So now it's on B, and B stands for braking, which means that it applies the maximum amount of regen every time. So it's linear, it keeps it that way, independent on which drive mode you set it to. If you set it back to D though, it's a bit more complicated because it's also dependent on the actual drive mode. Or to be more specific, it's more connected to the drive setting. So if you switch here between individual, if you set it to eco, it jumps back to auto. If I set it to normal, auto. If I set it to sport, it says D and level 2 in recuperation. That means that when you set it to sport mode, you don't have the possibility to use auto recuperation. So auto recuperation is only active in eco and normal. And when set to auto, adapt to the current drive conditions. So now, for instance, I let go of the accelerator. I don't have any car in front of me, so it coasts. If I put it into sport, it applies regen immediately. So eco and normal uses the adaptive recuperation level. So depending on the traffic situation, if I have cars in front of me, it slows down and adapts and adds recuperation for me. So in individual, that's the only mode where you actually, in D mode, can toggle and choose between the different recup levels. Depending on if you set the drive ability to eco or normal, you use adaptive recuperation. If you set it to sport, you use level 2 recuperation, or you just drive it in B to always use full recuperation. That's the mode I use. That's the mode that's the most uncomplicated one. If you get used to it, I think you will be able to save the most energy too. It's all up to your right foot and the granularity of how precise you are when accelerating and when letting go of the accelerator to use it as a brake function. And in B mode, it doesn't come to a full stop because the MVB platform doesn't give you the ability of one pedal driving. So I think they have done it a bit too complicated. It's a bit too overdone when it comes to recup settings. It takes a bit of a time to get used to how it actually works and how the different settings and drive modes affects the actual recuperation level. So let's push it a bit and see how it behaves here in some corners. I mean, it's a solid build. The steering is solid. It is what it is. You feel the road. It is not too numb. It is not a sports car. I mean, 210 Newton meters of torque, 0 to 108 seconds, 204 horsepower. It is not a sports car. But despite that, it's still a solid drive. It's still engaging to drive. It's still a good feel. I mean, both when it comes to the suspension, it's silent, but still gives you the right amount of support when pushing it a bit. And the fact that it is rear-wheel drive also gives us a bit of a more pleasant driving experience. The sound system, I didn't mention that when I sat in the front seat talking about the interior, but it has the standard sound system. Fortunately, it comes with speakers both here in the front and at the rear. I think it has 8 speakers. So tweeters here at the top, subwoofers or bass in the lower parts of the doors, and 4 speakers at the back, 2 tweeters and 2 bass speakers, low frequency. When stationary and when driving in low speeds, I think the sound system is okay. But as soon as you drive it and drive it in higher speeds, about 90, about 100, the cabin noise really disrupts, disturbs, and breaks the sound experience. So the sound system, the output really disappears. And that may be due to the cabin noise. It has a fairly prominent cabin noise. It's fairly noisy at higher speeds. I mean, at these speeds, like below 60, 70, it's all fine. But as soon as you put it up onto the motorway and drive it quicker than 100, it starts getting really noisy. A lot of road noise. Even if the car has double pane windows here at the front, it is still very noisy. And I really didn't expect that. I mean, it's a cheaper car in the cheaper car class from Skoda, but it is so much more noisy compared to my ID3, for instance, or a ID4, or the Skoda Elroq. It's probably one of the more noisier cars. To see the numbers, we actually did another video where we test the actual range, consumption, and cabin noise. So I put the link up here when that video is available for you guys. But just a final thought about the sound system. I mean, it's a basic sound system. It is what it is. It's a lot better than the sound system I have as a standard in my ID3 with the speakers in the front only. But it's still not a good sound system. And it breaks due to the cabin noise in higher speeds, and it kind of disappears. It's not strong enough, it's not powerful enough to put out enough volume in the cabin when driving quick. So that's something to bear in mind. If sound is important for you, go for the premium sound system, because this is not that premium. And in the evolution of the operating system, the software and the bigger screens, it is also easy to turn off things like the speed limit warning. You just put it as a shortcut, because at the top here there is a toolbar where you put your favorite. So if you long hold one of the icons, you can actually choose between a lot of functions. I mean, you can activate, deactivate hotspots, you can deactivate recirculation in the cabin, you can start the battery preheating, the preconditioning before fast charging. Very convenient. That's really next level. And you can also add the button or the shortcut for deactivating the speed limit chimes. So with one press, you can deactivate those and get rid of those annoying sounds. Very easy and good. So that bar is kind of a lifesaver for the system, and it really enhances the total user experience. So such an easy thing to add, but still such a good value for the end user. Another important step in the evolution of the MEB software is the charging functions. So if you go to the charging menu, first off we have the slider for the battery charge level. That's normal as usual, but you also have a sub menu called optimize, and this is probably one of the best things that have happened to the MEB software. This number here says 54, and that's the number of the charge speed that we can reach when plug it in a fast charger now. In these conditions, with the temperature of the battery pack and the state of charge we have currently. Underneath that, there is a big button for starting the preconditioning of the battery pack. And when I press that, I actually hear the heat pump start working and putting in some fresh hot air into the battery pack to condition the cells for optimal charging temperature. And it also comes with a built-in function in the built-in navigation. So if you navigate to a fast charger, it activates that by default if necessary. So it will fix that for you. So it will plan for you to optimize your charging if you use the native navigation. So that's a good feature too. But if you use navigation from like Android Auto, you can just activate that manually when you are closing into a fast charger, like half an hour before or 1 hour before if it's cold outside, if you don't want to spend as much time at the charger. Because this car still has a pretty decent charge curve. I mean, 165 kilowatts 24 minutes, 10 to 80%. That's nice. But if you want to reach that, you really need to precondition during wintertime, especially here in Sweden. So I have been driving the Elroq for almost a week now, and I will try to summarize my experience with it and my view on the car as such. We have been looking at the interior, the exterior, all the facts, the driving dynamics, you name it. The only thing I haven't talked about is the price point. So the starting price of the Elroq here in Sweden is 424,000 Swedish crowns. In Germany or in around Europe is around 35,000 euros. And that's for the entry-level car with the smallest battery pack called EV50. And this is the EV60. So the mid-range battery pack with the exterior white color that's also extra. It has the heat pump, has the tow hitch. So this one, the specific car, cost 489,000 Swedish crowns or 41,000 euros for this specification. And it's more or less the base version with the mid-sized battery pack. Even if that's not super cheap, it is still an affordable car for being a EV. What I like with this car in particular is how normal it is. I mean, it's really normal. I think that's the best word of describing the Elroq. Because Volkswagen, or Skoda in this case, has really managed to fall back to how a traditional car should work. I mean, with everything from the steering wheel, the stalks, the controls on the wheel, the activation of the drive assist functions, the controls of the windows, finally a good cheat charger, the hardware buttons underneath the screen, so actually taking some functions, putting them physically, has really made the car normal and how it actually should work. So they have really lowered the threshold for buying a EV, for people transitioning from a combustion car to an EV. First up with the price, secondly with the usability. So this is, even if it sounds like a small step, it's really kind of a big step for the normalization of EVs. And that, I think, is the best description of the new Elroq. It's normalizing EVs. So what I also like with it is that it is a decent size. It's practical with the possibility to add a tow hitch, a decent boot capacity of 470 liters, a decent back seat, good thigh support, a good comfort in general, and still the small perks that Skoda brings you, like the umbrellas in the doors. When it comes to the downsides, it still doesn't have a frunk. Another downside, I think, is the cabin noise. It's very noisy compared to a lot of other cars. Even cars cheaper than this, I think, scores better in our noise tests. I haven't seen the numbers myself, but that's the feeling I get when I test the car. Especially above 100, it's really noisy and you get tired quickly. One annoying thing that I discovered is that when you put the car into park, it deactivates the steering wheel controls. So if you're listening to music, it keeps playing, but if you want to pause or adjust the volume, you won't be able to do that on the steering wheel. And that's what you're used to do. So you will keep trying to adjust the volume, but it won't change. And then you will discover that you need to reach out for the screen and use the volume slider, the bad volume slider, underneath the screen. And that's really annoying. Why does it turn off the controls on the steering wheel when I put it into park? I haven't left the car. Why is the ignition off in a strange way? Doesn't make sense. Other than that, I think this is a great package. A small adjustment to the price, lowering it a bit, I think would be helping this car sell like hotcakes, because I think this is what people want. A small SUV that's practical, that's cheap, that has the functions you really need. Nothing less, nothing more. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and engage. And write your comments, your view about the Elroq. What do you think about it? Share your thoughts. Let us have a discussion. Ask me questions if you need to. I will answer for sure. Most importantly, stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.